Welcome, guys. Welcome to Barcelona. Welcome to Cisco Live. And thanks for showing up so late. I know that this is the last session of the day. Yes, my name is Senad, and I'm coming from Amsterdam. So I'm holding a architect role at Cisco in the last 4 years. I'm mostly responsible for advanced threats. So basically, AMP for endpoint, AMP everywhere. We have AMP on network, email, web. So threat grid, Talos, CTR, and you guys are lucky today because I'm going to show you something that we released really recently. We call Orbital, okay, which is not in my slides, but I want to show you guys because it's really cool and it's really changing the way how real-time forensics works, okay? So today I'm going to speak about research articles that I used to do a long time ago. I delivered this research speeches also in other conferences like SHA 2017 and then Confidence, and now this year I'm going to B-sites in San Diego and also in Ireland. So basically, this is showing you guys how advanced the botnets are, okay? Because in cybersecurity world, there is a lot of more people are giving a lot of effort to prevent something, and we are putting a lot of effort to respond on these threats, and then there is a small amount of researchers who are trying to figure out and to go against these bad guys and against their architecture, right? Against their botnets. So I'm one of them. I like to see how powerful they are. I like to see how their backend system works, and trying to bring that, let's say, intelligence to the community so everybody can have a better idea how advanced they are. So then I'm going to show you multiple tools, and then I'm going to show you multiple slides. So on the right side, on your guys' right side, I'm going to do my demo, and on this side, it will go the slides. A little bit about agenda. So I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to explain to you guys the main challenge in cybersecurity world regarding are we affected, and how this is affecting everybody in cybersecurity world. Then I'm going to show you guys how we can locate the evil, how we can go from a IP address to process name, right? Or how we can go from a domain name to a process, to locate the evil, to locate the root cause, and to see what that piece of malware done to the endpoint. Then I'm going to speak to you guys about the CryptoLocker, which was one of the first ransomwares in the world, which back a couple of years ago I managed to break in and to reveal what they do. So this research article ended up in a lot of newspapers, in a lot of online magazines, and in a lot of conferences, which is really interesting, where we can see how advanced is their backend. And this is maybe 3 years ago, okay, 4 years ago. So today it's totally changed in more, let's say, advanced way. So I remember, we force bad guys to innovate, This is a really biggest problematic in cybersecurity world. Wherever we go against them, wherever we reveal what they do, they change the techniques, okay? So we force them to evolve, actually. Then I'm going to show you guys another backend, which you can rent it, and you can build your own malware, right? So basically, you can go there, and it's a drag and drop. You can build a very advanced malware, which can do man-in-the-middle browser attacks, which can steal credit card information, which can steal the money in totally, let's say, hidden way, okay? Next one is a NAS botnet. It's really cool because I wanted to show you guys like how you can compromise one network attached storage machine, especially QNAP is in this version, right? And then that device is going and scanning all internet, finding the same devices like himself, which is vulnerable, hacking them, and then planting the scanner so he can scan and hack more devices, okay? So it's really unique. Like you hack one NAS device and then he's spreading all around the internet. Another one is a Keynes a malware from a King's family, so basically which is doing a man-in-the-middle browser attack to steal our money. The cool thing about this one is that their backend is like a real e-bank application in the world, right? We all use our e-bank, right, to pay bills, to transfer money to each other, right, and stuff like that. So they build this kind of backend for their bets, for their illegal activities, which is really unique. You guys are going to see it. And then we're going to see another malware, which has another command and control center, which is built to bypass second factor, right? Because these days the second factor is everywhere. So basically, if you want to send money to somebody, there will be a second factor involved. And to bypass the second factor, they built also a mobile application, which is fake, which is bypassing the second factor, okay? And then I'm going to reveal another botnet, which is all-in-one. So basically one of the most advanced ones so far that I managed to analyze, right, which combines everything. So you have from the back-end, front-end, mobile application, man-in-the-middle browser attack plugins, everything, okay? So basically you can build your own malware against any bank you like in the world in a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to show you guys the orbital, so be ready for that. And then we're going to wrap up with some conclusion and some other stuff. Okay, so I'm from Macedonia, living in Amsterdam. Very, very fast, so I've done a lot of operation in my life. I used to work in cybersecurity operation centers, and I started building them. My last deliverable is for the biggest airport in the world in Istanbul. So I built their SOC from ground up for 2 years with Cisco technologies and with Cisco and our partners there. So that's what I do. I do threat hunting, incident response. I used to do a lot of threat intelligence and early warning platforms in the past. Now, what we're going to do today, I'm going to show you guys, are we affected again with the Cisco threat response and locating the evil with Cisco M4 endpoint, and we're going to jump to the research articles. So are we affected? You know, when I used to work in cybersecurity operations center, we were running a MSSP, okay? We had, I don't know, maybe 25 customers. And these 25 customers has a lot of GUIs, a lot of technologies, right? And then all these 25 customers were calling our cybersecurity operations center when they were facing some outage or when they were seeing some news that some new attack is outside, right, in the wild. Hey, are we affected? Is my company affected, right? I just read on the news, and then are we affected, right? Or we used to have, you know, managers, SOC managers who are showing up in the morning in the door. Hey, are we affected, you know? So, I mean, this are we affected question is really simple, but to answer, it's not so simple, okay? Because every single attack has multiple IOCs. Nobody is going to build a malware with one single CNC IP address or domain name, right? Because of the redundancy, they're going to have multiple IP addresses, multiple domain names. And every single malware, it has multiple components, stages, right? So that means that you're going to end up with a multiple shot to 56, right? So wherever you analyze one specific attack, you're going to end up with minimum 15 or 16 IOCs. And now searching these 15 IOCs within 25 customers is not easy, right? So to answer this question was not easy. Well, at the Cisco, you know, guys, that we invested a lot on cybersecurity products by acquiring them, which is cool. You buy them. But most important thing is that in the last 4 years, we invest a lot for integration. Okay, we integrated them under the one single pane of glass. That's the biggest thing that we've done, if you ask me personally. Because if you don't have an integrated architecture, then time to detect will be not so good, and then time to response also will be not so good, right? Because in cybersecurity, it doesn't matter how cool tools you have, doesn't matter how smart people you have, doesn't matter what kind of technology you have in place, there will be always one question, why we didn't detect faster. That's the only thing what they understand, okay? And then, hey, we detected, why we didn't respond faster, right? So time to detect and time to response is really, really challenging these days. Everybody is doing some kind of race by integrating their solutions to be able to lower detection time and to be able to have very effective response. But there is one more thing about we see in a couple of years, right? What's the time to integrate? Okay, we have seen a lot of companies, a lot of partners, customers, buying solution and struggling to implement for 6 months and then another 6-month implementation and problems, and then learning another 6 months, 1.5 year or 3 years license is already gone, okay? So that's another story of this time to detect, time to response, and time to integrate. Now, the pain of investigation is always the same, right? A noise, a big chunk of data, events, logs, a lot of things, which when you see, when you scroll, doesn't make sense, right? And you, like an analyst, you need to extract something from that to be able to make some logic of it, right? So going inside and extracting observables like IP addresses, domain names, URL file hashes is not easy. I know we use tools, right? We use CM tools or we use any other log correlation tools, but it's not easy. Then, after extracting this IOC, right, what we do, we go and we search these IOCs in multiple tools. Okay, so we have in-house tools, we have external, internal tools, right? External threat intelligence platforms, you go there, search. Internal threat intelligence platforms, you go there, search, you try to correlate, et cetera, et cetera. So this is not easy, okay? And then a lot of tools, right? We passed everywhere. To search a single shot of 56, you go to your email, you go to your antivirus console, you go to your next-gen firewall console, you go VirusTotal, you go there and there and there, right? So you pass. That's what we do in a classical way. After doing this, what we do, we correlate this stuff. We are trying to build some logic behind of this attack by connecting the dots, okay? I'm sure that some of you here already know about Maltego, right? Kind of tools. So we dropped a bunch of stuff and we're trying to figure out the root cause, okay? And that's not easy. So now is the demo time. I don't want to show you too much slides, so I will go to my demo. So let's do like this. Let's make both of them. Ah, now it's better. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, are we affected story, right? So I will go for a WannaCry sample because I like how advanced the attack itself is. And then we capture everything from that specific attack, and we can show you guys the full anatomy of WannaCry attack. So I will go for a WannaCry Talos weblog, but you can go in any publication, white paper, or your own technology, which can give you some IOC, right? I don't suggest you to read all of these guys because it's a lot of text here. So I'm going to copy the IOCs. And then I will go back to my Cisco threat response. And then I'm going to ask him, hey, are we affected? I'm going to click investigate. So now I'm searching 36 indication of compromises, 36 of them, right? 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm analyzing, it's coming. I already see that I have one hit. So one of my machines is already affected right away. Is done. So I can see that I have 5 targets affected here. And the reason why I have 5 targets is because I have 5 different clouds of my customers. So this is my MSSP portal, okay? That means that if you have multiple clouds, if you are an MSSP provider, or if you are a company which has an operation in Asia, operation in Europe, operation in the United States, so you can consolidate all the consoles under the one single hood. I want to jump one of my endpoints which is affected here, okay? Let me jump one of them. So I want to see that this guy is affected here. So as you can see, guys, here now, you're going to see a lot of arrows here, right? So remember one thing, all these arrows here have a context. They're not just an arrow. It's showing me that this bad guy here, right, which is red, is targeting my endpoint, okay? And then it's showing that this bad guy is also targeting another endpoint, and then the parent, oops, you see the parent of this bad guy here is another bad guy, and this bad guy is parent of unknown file, and this unknown file has been executed by another unknown file, and so this is how you can go to the root cause, okay? So this is what you can detect here. If you go here, you're going to see 36 observables. Means that 23 of them is malicious, 1 of them is suspicious, and 12 of them is unknown. what I have unknown here, I have some unknown IP addresses, right? So really, I mean, I want to block this IP address if this IP address has something to do with WannaCry, right? So the blocking mechanism, thanks to the next-gen firewall, it can happen from here. So you can block IP addresses directly from this menu here. You can block SHA-256 directly from this menu here, like. You can block domain names directly from this menu here, okay? So this is what we can bring from the integration perspective, where you can see who is speaking to our specific CNC servers, which malware samples, and then you can block them, okay? If you want to go a little bit deeper and to see what is happening, then what you do is actually you can go for one of the affected machines here, and then you can jump to device trajectory of this machine. Which will be this one here. WannaCry. You can jump to device trajectory now. So device trajectory is going to show you guys 30 days back in the time what is happening on this machine, okay? So what you can do here, you can go back in the time, you can scroll back in the time, right? And then you can see when WannaCry hit this machine, and you can check and you can see a full anatomy of the attack. Like, as you can see here, ILSSX is creating a lot of unknown files. Every single plus here is an unknown file, okay? Which this is not a normal behavior of ILSSX because ILSSX is not creating files, okay? So what he is doing, he is creating multiple unknown files, and then he is executing one of the first payload, okay, of the WannaCry. Then I want to scroll back in the time to see what is happening. Now I can see that he is running attribution.exe, you see, malware. This is an unknown guy here. He's running attribution.exe of Windows, and what he's doing, he's hiding the files, okay? So what he dropped, he is now hiding them to make sure that the end user is not going to delete these files, okay? Then I'm going to scroll in the time. Now I can see that he's running iCalc.exe. What he's doing now, he's preparing read and write permission for every single file on the hard disk because he's going to start encrypting the files, okay? And now what is happening? It's obvious. He is starting to encrypt move, encrypt move. This is not sandbox, by the way. This is endpoint. Encrypt move, and that's it. So this is all the files that was on the endpoint that he managed to encrypt, move, and delete, okay? Then what he's doing, he's running a Tor. This is where he's running a Tor service here, you see? With this command line here, and then he's doing an outbound traffic. He's exchanging the private key with the CNC server. So they have the private key, so if you want to pay the ransom so you can have your file back. They're not stopping here. What else they are doing now? Now they're making sure that you are never going to receive your files back because they are deleting the shadow copies. Okay? And then they are deleting recovery here, shadow copy recovery. What else they are doing? To make sure that they're going to have a persistency, they are running registry here, as you can see, and they are putting a persistency. So in case that you are getting panicked and you click reset on your machine, oh, I'm getting encrypted, they're making sure, because it's already encrypted, right? They're making sure that the red window asking a ransom will be start up on the boot when you're going to start your machine again, okay? So this is the level of visibility that you can take with one single, let's say, technology, okay? So we saw M device trajectory, and this was the demo that I show you guys now. So now let's jump to CNC servers. This is a CryptoLocker, okay? As I mentioned, one of the first ransomwares in the world, okay? So it started with a simple Microsoft Word document with macros enabled, right? So what he was doing, WinWord, running a guy, dropping a guy, running Explorer, checking VSS admin that the shadow copies are not there, and using Internet Explorer to drop the second payload. So classical way of every single ransomware where he is using a multiple legitimate Windows application for the infection process, right? We know this infection process, but what's the important thing? The important thing is here, now we're going to see how advanced is this ransomware. Okay, so as you can see here on the left side, they have an admin page. So basically where they're going to, where you can configure, because you can rent them actually, they rent ransomware. You can go inside and you can configure your attack. Which you're going to attack, how much money you're going to ask, how much time you're going to give to this guy, et cetera, et cetera. On the right side here, as you can see, you have a ransom page, HTML. You design your own ransom page HTML, where the people are going to land. You can check your settings and the statistics about your attack. Here, you can choose your HTML file, and you can define how much money you're going to ask from your victims. Okay, so basically, before, after amount, and currency. So you can say before times run out, you can pay this amount of money. After time runs out, you need to pay this amount of money. Okay, so this is how you can configure the money, how much money you're going to ask from your victim. The next page here, you're going to define the email, main URL, Tor URL, URL 1, 2, 3, 4, like a backup URLs. Then you're going to define your time, how much time you're going to give them until the deadline. And then you define your Bitcoin wallet. You define your sample decryption application. So if you want to give them the feeling, hey, I can decrypt your files, so here's the application. You run and you can decrypt one of your files so you can be sure that I'm not lying you and I have your encryption key. Okay? So this is how you can configure your attack. Next one here, inside of this CNC server, there was a lot of mails, SMTP, and errors. So basically, there was a huge mail accounts. So basically, every single mail was divided by the country. Okay? So they figure out, like, if they attack Spain, mostly Spain users, Spain email addresses. If they attack Italy, mostly Italian, et cetera, et cetera. And then there was a lot of SMTP stolen accounts, right? So they, to not fall into the spam filtering, so they were using a legitimate SMTP accounts. And they keep errors. So that's interesting. I mean, they have their own error system, so they make a debug why encryption didn't successful, or why we lose money this time and we couldn't get a ransom. Inside of every single folder here, there was a huge amount of people, a huge amount of machine getting encrypted. Okay, so that time was 11. Only number 11 folder had 2,172 infections. As I mentioned before, inside we found like 2,580 victims from España, from Great Britain, Italy, and Netherlands. So basically, this is let's say, how professional they are. So they don't want to send a Spanish guy a phishing link in Dutch language. Okay, so they don't want to do this mistake. Okay, they're really careful with this. And then inside, we found some chat logs, like a ticketing system, right? Where the people who got ransomed, right? People who got who end up with the encrypted files, they were asking for encryption keys. Some of them paid, never received an encryption key. Some of them pissed off. Some of them want to pay more, et cetera, et cetera. So they have our own ticketing system, which is giving them some kind of customer and, well, victim and bad guy relationship, right? So now let me show you this one. Okay, one. Okay. So I already made a snapshot of this one in my CTR. So if I search this attack, what I need just a couple of IOCs here. I can use IP address, I can use SHA-256, as you can see. I can use domain name and stuff like that. And right away, I can see, because I was testing on my machine here, right? As you can see, guys, I have hit on my machine. So I was affected by this ransomware, which is my Mac here. It has been targeted by this bad guy here. And this bad guy is a parent of another good guy. And his file path is here. File name is g.exe, etc., etc. Okay, so this is how you can come up and you can search for a lot of IOCs in a very easy way. Of course, you can use Talos. You can go to Talos. You can search, and you're going to see that we know that that was bad. Now, second one. So this is really interesting one because you know, if you want to make, again, this is coming from Keen's family. They use Zeus like CNC server, and then use a MIT-B CNC block builder in behind to be able to give you the bad guys a full-blown, let's say, backend to build their attack. Again, this is the login page in the CNC server. You see money, okay? And then this is the backend. So this backend is, so I know that you guys can see how huge effort they put in a backend. So here, what they have is actually, you guys can see on the one, is a section where we can set the attack campaign for each specific bank. Then is the online victims, who is right now online, right, sitting ducks. And then the offline, from which guys they already stole money from. So as you can see here, the cash list is 0 in some of them. You see the comments, how much money they take for them, et cetera, et cetera. So this is actually what you can configure the backend to do in behalf of you. You don't need to know nothing about malware. You don't need to be a malware expert. You just rent this botnet from them, and then you build your own attack. Next one, here you can edit the interaction with the user, with the victim. Because you know, man-in-the-middle browser attacks are happening without the knowledge of the end user, right? You think that you pay a bill for your electricity, right? But everything you see is a fake HTML or CSS rendering. In the backend, they are sending money to somebody else. And this is where you can define to show error for them, to forward them to another CNC server, is the transaction is down, to retrieve again, to try to capture the second factor, and stuff like that. So this is where you can define which victims for which bank is going, and stuff like that. Here you can see allowing victim to reach the e-banking application, right? So after they're going to grab everything from you, after you're going to steal everything from you, the user can go to his legitimate web application, so he can be sure, or let's say peace in his mind, that nothing happened behind, right? So this is how advanced they are. They can define a question, so you can ask you a question, guys. I mean, you can suddenly see your banking application asking you, hey, I don't know, do you want a coffee, right? They can play with the people, right? And you think that is your bank asking you that, okay? But actually, they're controlling that. They can inject a JavaScript. They can hold the function. You say, I'm paying my electricity bill, and it's just holding. Nothing is happening. And you say, hey, something is slow. Banking application is slow. But it's not slow, because in that time, they are grabbing your second factor, and they're sending the money not to your electricity IBAN, right? To your electricity, let's say, account company, but they are sending money to somebody else. This is a custom injection here, right? So you can actually build anything you like. I mean, I know a lot of people, a lot of these kind of guys, they send to the victims like, hey, we want to send you a new credit card, right? And then you say, yes, I want a new credit card. And then when you click again, yes, they change the delivery address, and your credit card is going to their address. You know, so they can control everything what is happening between you and the bank, totally everything. So this is the amount of the victims, right? So there was 5 to 10 per day here, and you can see amount of the money they have, right? And stuff like that. So as you can see, right, a lot of people think that these botnets are simple, right? Yes? Look, I mean, it depends if you are going to go with Russians or with the Chinese bad guys, okay? They have a different prices. But it's cheap. It's cheap. So there's 2 options. You can rent the portal, and then you pay them some fixed amount, $200 or $300 per month, maybe. I never check the prices, by the way. And then you can be an affiliate for them. So they're going to give you the portal, and you split, you're going to see now, where you can split half and half with them. okay? Yeah, so again, you guys can see how advanced they are. They're not simple botnets, you know? We know how malware works, right? The dropper comes in, dropper checks your operating system, your geolocation, your language, reports to CNC server, hey, I am on Windows 10, I don't know, Dutch language, I am here. And then payload comes for the specific operating system, right? That's how malware works. That's okay, we know this. But when you go in the back end of these guys, if you break in and then when you see what they build behind, it's like really scary, okay? I mean, honestly, my banking application is not so advanced like these guys, okay? They have a much advanced, but you guys are going to see it now. Okay, let's move to the NAS. This was very funny. You know, guys, the shell shock was very famous that time, right? We still see shell shock attacks everywhere, even if it's patched or even if it's not patched anymore, right? Like, we still see WannaCry hits, I think that's 20,000 per second, still today, okay? But this one is really interesting because this one is scanning the vulnerable NAS machines. Then he's hacking them. So, massive shell shock vulnerability attack. He's deploying the payload. And then you know what he's doing? He's patching that vulnerable NAS machine to make sure that he is the only one who is controlling it. This is really interesting. And then he's arming with the DDoS techniques. He's dropping a DDoS application, DDoS scripts, and then he's deploying a scanner and tells the scanner to go now to search for other vulnerable NAS devices, to hack, to patch, to arm them, hack, patch, arm them. So this is how the attack looks like. Again, this is shell shock attack is telling him to go in a specific IP address and to drop a script, okay, which is a shell script. Inside of the shell script, you're going to see where he's running the shell script, and then he's making a persistency. So basically, he's adding another user to the passwords of the file. So basically, Linux, right? And then he's patching. He's going to an official QNAP website, and he's patching the NAS device. So only he is owner, because another bad guy can find the vulnerability and can. So there will be a fight of who's going to own the machine, right? And then he's running a mass scanner to scan and hack and patch other devices. So you can imagine if you have one affected device is successful and you just lay down and you see how you're going to end up with 60, 70,000 compromised NAS devices like this, really powerful one, in really powerful internet connection, without moving your finger, okay? It's full automatic. And then what's the problem? The problem is that the owner of these NAS devices, they don't know that there is a backdoor, right? They don't know about this because the machine is patched, right? And then is a sitting duck there. They just keep that kind of devices. And if somebody is reaching them, hey, I'm going to give you 10, 20K to DDoS this address or this address here, then they're going to activate. Because every DDoS costs them money. They need to burn the devices. They need to burn the IP addresses, right? But this is really, really advanced attack, okay, where they are patching. Yeah, this is the CGI script that they deploy. So basically, it's a DDoS, heavy DDoS, as you can see, guys, here, right? So, but look, I mean, the strange thing is like this. We saw a lot of crypto mining, right, attacks, malware doing crypto mining. Let me tell you something. That's the last stage. That's the last thing. So the hacked devices, the hacked servers, NAS device, NAS servers, and everything, endpoints, they're changing ownership, okay? So the guy, they call them milkers. They say, hey, I have 100 NAS devices freshly hacked with this amount of the bandwidth, right? Who wants to do, I don't know, phishing attacks? And they give phishing attacks. When the phishing attack is done, they say, okay, now my phishing attack is done. Everybody knows that these machines are doing phishing attack. Now let's burn them. Let's sell them to the DDoS guys. So now they're selling to DDoS guys. Yeah, basically you are changing the ownership. Your hacked machine servers are changing the ownership. Last one is, okay, everybody knows us. Let's put a botnet miner, crypto miner, and then let's go. When they're going to catch, when they're going to catch. How much we're going to mine, we're going to mine. This is their mindset. They're using them. Yeah, this is the backdoor that they install. So basically, you go, if you know the port, of course, and then if you know the exact path, you can execute a command on this machine, and then you can do a lot of bad things. Again, these QNAP devices, or this is a Linux machines, right? So it's really powerful. You can do anything, literally anything you like. For that reason, in these days, we say behind of this attack is Russian, behind of this attack is Chinese. I think that's not always true, because you can jump internet from everywhere in the world. So it's really, really tough to point somebody doing it. Because, he can own multiple NAS devices like this. He can install I don't know, open VPN, right? And he can do whatever he wants from any IP address. So here you can see actually the mass scanner, right? And he is scanning all internet to be able to hack other machines. Okay, so this was the very interesting attack. What about e-banking? You guys, I mentioned you guys there was a really cool e-banking application. Well, this is one of them. Again, some IOC, again, King's family, really, really advanced one. And here is the CNC server. This is not e-bank application, it's a CNC server, guys. Here, you define your victims. You define how much money you're going to steal from them. And then you define where the money is going to be transferred, the crooks. And then you're going to define how many % you're going to split between you and the crooks. It's full automatic. You just configure, you just click button, and whole banking system in the back end is working for you. Here you can see victims and how many money they have. Here you can see how much they steal from them. Small amount, small amount, small amount, small amount, right? Here you can see, again, the same thing, the drops page. Here you can see Tallinn, London, Riga. This is the guys who are receiving the money. These guys are people, they use heavily retired people. They go in this, the retirement houses and stuff like that. And they give him 10%, 20%, give me your IBAN number, and then I'm going to drop money on your account. That's what they do, okay, as you can see. It's like a Western Union money transfer, right? Here you can see they keep all error logs. So again, they want to make sure that everything works perfectly. But more important thing here, you're going to see really cool things right now here. So you can see a record memo, you can see drop status, IBAN, drop name, drop country, drop city, and then here you can see how we're going to split the money. Okay? So I say, okay, I have 20,000 victims, I'm going to transfer 10,000 euros from them, and I'm going to give you 50% for you, 50% to you, if you accept the money to be transferred to you. And then you set up your back end here, you click the button, and it's full automatic. And then you can go back, and you can see how much money went to which guy, how you split with him, and then they send the money back. The 50% is go back to the Western Union or to another way. So they are losing the trace of the money. This is CNC command and control center, guys. It's not a real bank, okay? It's a full automatic. And yeah, again, we can see how really, really advanced they are. Okay, this is not like a simple attack. Now, we all know that the second factor is important, right? So it's everywhere. We have Duo, we have a lot of things, right? But there is no second factor in the world who can protect you if you install any application on your phone. Okay, especially the fake ones, okay? So in this here is, this CNC server is built to bypass the second factor. Because if you have a malware who's going to steal a credit card information, right? You have one skill set, a guy who's going to do payload, dropper, et cetera, right? And then if you want that malware to do man-in-the-middle browser attack, that means that you need another skill set here, right? Who's going to interact with the browser, and you're going to do the stuff. And if that banking, or if that bank, which from where you want to steal money, has a second factor, then you need another bad guy like this one here, which is building a perfect fake second factor application for any bank in the world. Okay? So this is that one. So basically, they force you to scan your QR code, and then they drop you an application. You think that is a legitimate application from your bank, okay? And then they control everything here. Again, you remember they're transferring the people. So you go underground and you say, hey, I have a malware, I have infected people, Dutch people a lot, right? And I need a man-in-the-middle browser attack for a ABC bank in Netherlands, right? And somebody is going to sell you, build you, or you can go to the block builder application, right? CNC server, to build your own man-in-the-middle browser attack. It's not yet, right? You need to bypass second factor. Then you go in another group of criminals which are building this kind of application, and they're going to build you the perfect fake application for the specific bank, and you have a full attack in place. When you execute, everybody gets a notification from their bank. You're logging in your bank, and your bank says, hey, we updated our mobile application. Download it. And you scan the QR code, and you download. But it's not the application from your bank. It's from them, right? So yeah, this is how advanced they came to also to bypass the second factors. So the last one is the most far advanced one. And the cool thing is that I'm going to share the source code with you guys. But please don't get to jail, okay? So this one is really interesting because it contains, so basically this was the banks that they were targeting that time, and 5 more banks. This is the web injects, okay, man in the middle. And then this is the second factor bypass. So you set up your second factor, you set up, right? So as you can see here, who is the receiver? And then they have a jabber port that time, so they can chat with the victims, like bank support, you know. I mean, they can do everything. Here they generate the QR code, and then here is what you're going to see with your bank logo, with your second factor, and you are ready to go. Again, this is the manifest here, especially for the Android phones, as you can see. So when you're going to receive your second factor, right, from your bank, a real SMS, right? You pay your bill, you receive second factor. This application is grabbing your SMS because he has a right to read SMSs, and is sending to the bad guys, right? And they're using that SMS to send your money, not to your electricity bill utility, but they send to somebody else. And you don't see this. Suddenly you came home and your electricity is turned off, and then you're going to realize that the money went somewhere else. Yeah, this was after extraction, we found, of course, they can buy this kind of numbers from everywhere. But again, you know, even the SMS is not safe. Even the second factor is not safe these days if you are not careful. And this is the SMS, this is Italian, so they can define in your own language based on the attack, which people you're going to attack, right? So to make more relevant. This is the injections. Here we define the injections. Hey, wait, we are transferring the money. Hey, wait, or transfer error. I tried to pay my bill, transfer error, but it's not error. It's done, but they're giving you error, right? And then this is some of the interaction with the bots. So basically, they have a full control about the bots. Reset, inject, delete user, steal money, drop money, and stuff like that. So again, some conclusions. I don't always build botnets, right? But when I build them, I build on my computer. So now take your phones. This is the source code of this most advanced botnet with everything inside. If you want to play with it to see how advanced it is, you are more than welcome to play with it. Now, I just show you guys the 4 or 5 most funny and advanced ones. But I do a lot of research. This is my full research articles, more than 20, 25 botnets. If you want to see more of this stuff in more detailed way, by the way, okay? You can take the PDF from this version. Now, how is my timing? 45 minutes, right? Okay, so now, I promise you guys that I'm going to show you something cool today. So that's Orbital, okay? So Orbital is our new engine for M4 endpoint, which gives you guys real-time forensics. Who is from forensics background here for threat hunting and stuff like that? Excellent. So when we speak a real-time in cybersecurity world, there is no definition about real-time, right? Somebody says we do real-time memory dump. Well, remember, memory dump can take hours, right? It cannot be real time, right? But because it's faster than somebody else, they say that it's a real time, right? We do real-time sandboxing. Well, real-time sandboxing doesn't exist. It must be 4 or 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1. And it's not real time, right? So for specific cybersecurity, let's say, actions or products, real-time don't have a definition. Like hash checkups, like file disposition checkups, they are real-time, right? Milliseconds are in place. But for forensics, real-time is a really challenge. Let me show you guys what we've done. So as you guys remember, I show you guys the dashboard here, right? So basically, you go in a device trajectory for a specific malware here, and then you can see what happened on this endpoint in a really nice and fashion way, going back and forth in the time, right? So we are able to capture what has been copied, create, execute, delayed, outbound, inbound traffic for every single endpoint 30 days back in the time. This is like a DVR recorder, right? But we didn't stop here because we want to see more what is happening on this endpoint. We want to have a catalog where you can choose what you want to do from the forensics tasks without running a PowerShell, without doing any SSH to these machines, without doing any remote desktop to these machines, right? So we come up with an orbital. Let me now show you guys what I mean. So I'm going to open one of my machines now here, which has orbital installed on my VM, which is running here on my machine. So this VM is running on my endpoint here right now. It's connected to my AMP public cloud in United States data center, okay? Now I will go and I'm curious what happened with this machine, so I want to see the snapshot, forensic snapshot about what's going on in this machine. I click View Snapshot. Here we go. Just one single click, I can see auto-executed items of this machine. I can see installed programs. I can see listening ports. I can see load module hashes, logon session, map drives, network interfaces, open shares, startup items, user groups, users, logged in user, Windows hotfixes, everything with a one single click. Real time. When I say real time, it's real time, real time. Let me prove you now. So this is a snapshot that we collected the most common used, let's say, forensics task. Let me go and query this endpoint here with a real-time query tool. So here you can choose 200, 300,000 endpoints. No problem at all, okay? I have right now only one. And then this is our catalog. This is what you can do from the posture assessment. Host file monitoring, map drive monitoring, PowerShell event audit state monitoring, process socket. Have a look at this. You can do any of this. You can just choose registry office admins monitoring, process children search, user group search, host uptime search. Any of this is predefined for the forensics guys. Threat hunting, you can do any of this, like Outlook email attachment monitoring, like file search, RDP and SMB connection monitoring, where is the RDP is happening and stuff like that, right? Then we have a live acquisition of volatile data, like all SHA-256, this, that, anything you like. Forensics, a lot of forensics tasks, and a lot of malware tasks. We didn't stop here. So our catalog is mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. So basically you can run, hey, execution everywhere, lateral movement, defense evasion. Within my all endpoints, you click and you search and you're going to see it. How fast is that one? Let me show you now. Let me go to host file. You know, malware likes to modify this file. And I'm going to query the host file of my endpoint, which is running right now here. Here we go. As you can see, this is the host file of my VM, which is the same one that I just queried. I'm querying 22,000 kilometers from here, United States, back to my VM here, okay? How fast is that? Let me show you. Let's say that I am a malware, and I'm editing the host file, right? Cisco.com. Okay? Now, I'm going to click save, and I'm going to click query. Here's Cisco.com. This is how fast it is. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do listening ports. Really important task, right? You want to see what processes are listening. Query. Here's my listening ports, right? If I go netstat minus all listening ports, right? I'm starting netcat, listening on 4.4545, query. Here is the netcat listening, the 454545. Okay? So this is what we bring like a latest and the greatest release for endpoint. It's changing the way how forensics works. It's really helpful. And then you can create a job. So basically you can say, hey, something is happening on this machine. Run this every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, run forensics and store the data in this data store here. I can fetch later in my CTR, because with CTR is already integrated, but you can push to your SIEM if you like, okay? And then you can see if these machines have some infection, you can see what. So you are converting somehow your every single M4 endpoint in your environment in a small monitored sandboxes to see what's going on, okay? So this is what we release again. So it's a part of M4 endpoint, and it's giving you guys a lot of let's say, capabilities. So now, last thing. Yes?
Is it for Windows only?
Right now it's Windows only, but it's coming for other operating system. Now, let me ask you something, guys. What do you do with your vulnerability scanning reports? So you scan with Nessus, Nexpost, right? And then you have a huge report of vulnerabilities. What we do with these vulnerability reports? Come on. We patch, right? We give to the patch management guys, hey, guys, patch this. And they hate us, right? What else we do with this report? Come on, speak up. Sorry? Excellent. Did you guys ever took that report in your hand and ask yourself, hey, did anybody use these vulnerabilities to hack this machine? Right? This is really, really nice question, right? Let me show you how you can answer this question with AMP. So AMP has its own vulnerability scanner built in. So you don't need to scan every day. Well, you can scan for other third-party vulnerabilities, but for the most important vulnerabilities that can be exploited in the Windows, you don't need to do that. So I can see here that Acrobat Reader, which is not patched, is on my 2 endpoints. Okay, now I am an analyst, threat hunter, incident responder. I'm curious, did anybody use this vulnerability to hack this machine? Look how fast. I go to device trajectory now, and then it's simple. I will go for the old one, because this demo is old. Remote code execution must have copy and execute. That's the first steps, right? I want to see what has been created and executed from Acrobat Reader exe. And here we go. Acrobat Reader exe creates a exe file, which doesn't make sense. Acrobat Reader exe is creating PDF files. It's not creating exe files. And then he's executing the exe file. Okay? So this is how fast you can go to the root cause from a simple vulnerability, CVA vulnerability, to the root cause that this machine has been compromised using this vulnerability. Now, there's a lot of things. I'm not sure which one to show you guys. Okay, what about this one? So, you know, we are running short from the cybersecurity people, right? Cybersecurity Operations Center, MSSP, we cannot find people, et cetera, right? That's how it is. What about if we have a tool that everybody in this room, which never done any threat hunting, incident response, and everybody in your company, which don't know nothing about threat hunting, can help your cybersecurity operation guys to detect threats? We have a tool for that. Let me show you. By the way, this tool is installed on my daughter and son's machine, and they do everyday threat hunting, literally. They check before they click. They check before they download. when they see some news, they check if that threat is in our environment, okay? Let me show you guys. So like a cybersecurity researcher, right? Every morning we read news. One of the news that I read is always the OpenDIR. OpenDIR is a hashtag that is used by the cybersecurity researchers, and they push a zero-day findings, right? As you can see here, this guy just found a CNC server with a hash malware here, right? I'm reading phishing for Spotify. I'm reading the news. I can be a C-level executive, which don't know nothing about threat hunting. The only thing I know that is these threats in my environment, right? Or I can be an employee in the company, right? Which helps the SecOps guys with before clicking something or downloading something. I'm reading all of this news, a lot of 0 days, a lot of things, right? And now I'm asking myself, hey, are those threats in my environment? I'm affected from any of this? So here's the guy on the right top corner. You click it. He's going to collect all the IOCs, here we go, from the page that I just read. And you click investigate, and you're going to see if you're affected or not. Simple as that. Okay? So this is what we have right now with the CTR and everything which falls under the one pane of glass. I'm bloody serious. My son and daughter is using this. I teach them because they send files to school, they receive a lot of emails with the links, so they check the links before click, and they check everything. But it can be used everywhere. Because even my grandmother knows that the red is bad, right? So that's how is our full security portfolio together. Now coming to my PowerPoint. So last thing, we're going to finish earlier, so guys, I can free you up. So guys, thanks for coming. Now questions, if you have any questions. If you want to improve us, please fill up the survey, because they're going to chase you with the surveys. And then they're going to send you a paper print of the survey at your home address, so you need to fill it with a pen. So please fill up the surveys, and if you have any questions, I am here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening.